This is definitely space.
Most of the indie horror scene's popular titles came during the age of the 2010s, from Slender: The 8 Pages, SCP: Containment Breach, Five Nights at Freddy's, Faith, and even still in the 2020s, with At Dead of Night. But as many of you would expect, this is far from the beginning of the indie horror scene, or even indie gaming in general. The 2000s were also a prominent time for indies: Braid in 2008, Cave Story in 2004, Minecraft in 2009, I Wanna Be the Guy in 2007, and just about everything that came from Newgrounds ever since 1999, starting with Pico School. But as for the indie horror scene, there is one game that came in the year 2005, and that is The White Chamber, a hand-drawn point-and-click horror game starring Sarah, who wakes up in a glowing red coffin with no memory as to how she got there. She soon discovers that she's in an abandoned space station in the deepest depths of space. Sarah's job is to find out how she got into the space station, and how she can escape with her life. The entire space station itself is rusted all over, covered in dried up blood, but is still in working condition, which only adds more to the mystery. If the machinery itself is still operational, then that implies that the shuttle was abandoned fairly recently, but the entire station has degraded in time, so that would also mean that it has been months or even years since anyone has been here. So much conflicting information which only adds more questions. The main character is completely hand-drawn, which is something that was less common during this era of gaming. Hand-drawn games didn't really take off until the 2010s, with titles like Skullgirls, Cuphead, and Hollow Knight. But the early 90s also had some hand-drawn stuff as well, such as Aladdin and Earthworm Jim, granted with the limitations of their respective consoles. Most likely, it was less common during the 2000s, because everyone was trying to stick to 3D, because 3D gaming was still relatively new, as most would only have interest in 2D games if they were for the Game Boy Advanced. But you also have to remember that this game was made by a small handful of people, and this was their first game, and once again, this is when indie game development was still kind of underground, more specifically 2005, so the fact that this game even exists is kind of impressive. Some people may question the art with today's standards, but it's good to put things into perspective and give people the benefit of the doubt. The art style has an anime-esque look to it, but with thick outlines to most likely help make the characters stick out from the more detailed backgrounds. Their eyes in specific do remind me of Yu-Gi-Oh! For some reason. Take that for what you will. Most of the art looks good, though the only thing I really don't like about the art is this face. I don't know, just looks a little derpy. Also, for those who don't know, Sarah is voiced by Kira Buckland, with The White Chamber being her very first role. For those who may not know, Kira Buckland is also the voice of 2B from Nier Automata, Kyoko in River City Girls, and literally every female voice in Brawl Taunts.
I'm too sexy for my box.
Ah! Finally, I get to meet a real man!
Hey, excuse me, princess, what about me?
You can have my big gay dance.
It's funny to think that this is where it all started for her. The game can be beaten within an hour or two, depending on how good you are with the game's puzzles. A lot of the puzzles had me stumped a bit, but most of it wasn't too complicated. And that's a good thing for someone like me, because I'm no good at puzzles, and I'm a big dum-dum. I only got stuck on 2 instances, which I would go into detail with, but that would involve spoiling the game. The shorter aspect may turn some people off, but here's the thing. The White Chamber is a free download anyway, so are we really going to complain about the length of a free game? As for where to download it though, I don't know. I got my download from the developer, Studio Trophus' website, but as I was writing the script, I discovered that the website is no longer up. And this is mainly because the team had disbanded shortly after The White Chamber was released. They were originally working on a new game called For the Game that was set to release in 2009, but that never happened. Now, before anyone gets concerned, there was no bad blood between any member of the team. Being a small independent studio with only a handful of employees, each with their own lives, was just too much. They couldn't find the time to continue their work, so they split up and did their own thing. It sucks, but it wouldn't be the end of the White Chamber, as a remaster was in development, with higher resolutions, completely new animations with a new art style, and new cutscenes. Not only this, but the original designer and programmer, Richard Perrin, was involved with the project. But so far, not much has come from it. Richard has clarified on Twitter that the remaster was on hold, but this was back in May of 2009. It's currently unknown as to what the future of this remaster will be, but hopefully it gets released, or at least the original game can make a comeback. With all these dang horror Let's Players out there, I'm genuinely shocked that most of them haven't played this game before. Much like Slender and Five Nights at Freddy's, this community could be all this game really needs to return to the spotlight. Now, speaking of spoilers, this may be where the review ends for some of you, depending on whether or not you want to hunt this game down. If you don't want to be spoiled, then please click away. If you don't have any interest or just don't care, then please continue.
Check this shit out.
Everyone look out! It's Skull on Bone, the spoiled blob!
You won't believe what happens next.
Hey! Get out now! Jesus Christ!
The game has a number of endings, some connected to in-game deaths. A lot of these deaths include exclusive animation, so it's almost worth dying just to see everything this game has to offer. But the real endings, being the ones you get by completing the game, are a bit more complex on how you unlock them. You see, by the end of the game, it's revealed that Sarah was a part of a research group that had taken in a strange artifact from another planet. Sarah became obsessed with the artifact, as her other team members just wanted it gone. As any other normal and completely sane person will do, Sarah kills every single one of them. But the last researcher managed to activate the artifact, which causes her to constantly wake up in the red glowing coffin with no memory or any hope of escape until she proves that she redeemed herself. But how do you do this? You see these scratch marks on the wall here? These are a tally of all the selfless things you've done so far. Some include attempting to warm up a freezing body, or trying to save someone in a tube. While typically in vain, it's the thought that counts, as the tally rises in number. But there are even some actions that can make you lose points, so you've got to be careful. There are 4 endings you can get through this tally. 0 gives you the Tormented Ending. Sarah uses the escape pod but wakes up in the red coffin where she is slaughtered by monsters. Getting 1 or 2 points gives you the Damned Ending, where the cycle simply continues. She's not so bad to get the Tormented Ending, but she's also not ready for redemption, so the game is on an infinite loop until a change is made. Getting around 3 to 5 points gives you the Redemption Ending. Sarah is proven worthy, as she's finally given a way out of this hell. She uses an escape pod to leave to an unknown planet, only to see the space station self-destruct in the sky. But while this is the best ending you can get, it technically isn't the happiest. Sarah is now on a deserted island on an unknown planet. She was unable to send a distress signal, and with the station destroyed, all anyone would assume is that everyone had died. While Sarah lives, no one will realize it. She keeps her life and escapes the torment, but still cannot return home ever again. The last ending with 6 points is the comedy ending, similar to the dog ending of Silent Hill 2. Sarah's met with a surprise birthday party with 4 individuals who were amusing caricatures of the devs at Studio Trophic, only for it to be hit with an asteroid. How hilarious! What the fuck? If you can find the White Chamber, then give it a shot. It's completely for free after all, so you really have nothing to lose minus an hour or 2. This has been Cackling Pumpkins. Your connection will be strange.